English vibe. Yeah, easy English vibe.
There is something almost brazen about taking one of literature's most famous tragedies, a story defined by madness, gaslighting, and a very literal drowning, and turning it into a stadium anthem about finding the one. But here we are, 2 months into the life of a showgirl era, and the fate of Ophelia is still sitting at #1.
It is brazen, Noah, but it's also the most Taylor Swift thing imaginable. She has spent her entire career rewriting narratives. She did it with Romeo and Juliet in Love Story back in 2008, where she changed the double suicide into a proposal in the garden. And now, 17 years later, she's looking at Hamlet's Ophelia, the ultimate symbol of female victimization, and saying, actually, no, not this time. Someone's coming to pull me out of the water.
And that is exactly what I want to unpack today, because on the surface, this track is an absolute earworm. Max Martin's production is doing that new wave synth-funk thing that feels very 1985. But lyrically, it is dense. We have references to Hamlet, obviously, but there's also a direct quote from Macbeth. There's Rapunzel imagery, and then this jarring, hyper-modern slang that anchors the whole thing in 2025.
Right. It's a collision of eras. You have the Elizabethan tragedy colliding with modern internet vernacular. So let's start at the very beginning. Verse 1. The scene setting is fascinating.
The opening lines, "I heard you callin' on the megaphone. You want to see me all alone." Immediately, we aren't in 16th century Denmark. We are in a very modern, very public space.
Exactly. A megaphone amplifies the voice, but it also distorts it. It's performative. If someone calls for you on a megaphone, they aren't whispering sweet nothings. They are making a public declaration. Given the cultural context we're living in right now, and the person this song is widely speculated to be about, this feels like a nod to how their courtship began. It didn't start with a secret note, it started with a podcast shout-out. It started with a broadcast.
That's a great point. It's a courtship initiated through media. And then she follows it with this characterization. As legend has it, you are quite the pyro. You light the match to watch it blow. Now, pyro is an interesting choice here. Usually in Swift's discography, fire's dangerous. Think about Dear John, where she's the one being burned, or Getaway Car, where the circus is burning down. But here, the pyro quality seems attractive, or at least thrilling.
I think it's about energy. A pyro is volatile, yes, but they are also warm. They bring heat. If you look at the previous characters in her songwriting, the London boy types, the tortured poets, they were often associated with rain, with gray skies, with cooling down. This new figure is explosive. You light the match to watch it blow and plays someone who isn't afraid of a little chaos. They like the spectacle. And for a woman who just titled her album The Life of a Showgirl, finding a partner who enjoys the explosion rather than fearing it is a massive shift.
And it sets up the stakes for the pre-chorus. She sings, "And if you'd never come for me, I might have drowned in the melancholy. I swore my loyalty to me, myself, and I, right before you lit my sky up." That drowned in the melancholy line, that is our first toe dip into the Ophelia metaphor.
It is, and it's crucial to understand who Ophelia actually is in Shakespeare's Hamlet to get the weight of this. Ophelia is often cited by feminist scholars as a character completely defined by the men around her. She is Polonius's daughter, Laertes' sister, Hamlet's lover. When those men either abandon her, manipulate her, or die, she literally disintegrates. She goes mad. And her death, drowning in a brook surrounded by flowers, is passive. She doesn't fight the water, she just ceases to be.
So when Swift sings, "I might have drowned in the melancholy," she's identifying with that passivity, that feeling of just letting the current take you because the grief is too heavy. It's an admission that prior to this relationship, she was close to that breaking point. She was in the lavender haze, maybe, but the haze was turning into water.
Precisely, and notice the defensive posture right before the rescue. I swore my loyalty to me, myself, and I. This is the armor. She had decided to be alone. The tower imagery comes in the chorus. All that time I sat alone in my tower. You were just honing your powers.
That tower image is interesting because Ophelia wasn't in a tower. That's Rapunzel. Or maybe the Lady of Shalott. Why mix the metaphors?
Because the tower represents success in modern pop stardom. You are elevated, you are untouchable, but you are isolated. Ophelia's trap was social. She was trapped by court politics. Swift's trap is her own celebrity. She's in the penthouse, she's in the VIP box. It's a tower of her own making. And while she was sitting there, isolated by her own success, this other person was honing their powers. I love that phrasing. It suggests that while she was waiting, he was training. He was becoming the kind of person strong enough to break into the tower.
It frames the romance as a superhero narrative, almost. You dug me out of my grave. It's violent in a way. He didn't just knock on the door, he excavated her. Which brings us to the hook, which I think is one of the catchiest things she's ever written. Saved my heart from the fate of Ophelia.
It is the thesis statement of the era. The fate of Ophelia is to be consumed by your own feelings and the cruelty of others. To be saved from it means rewriting the ending of the play. And then, Noah, we get the drop. The production shifts, and we get this line that I remember laughing out loud at the first time I heard it. Keep it 100 on the land, the sea, the sky. Pledge allegiance to your hands, your team, your vibes.
It is jarring. We go from Shakespearean grave digging to keep it 100 and vibes.
It's brilliant, Camp. Keep It 100 is AAVE, African American Vernacular English, which has permeated internet culture and hip-hop, but it is also very specifically associated with the vocabulary of Travis Kelce. It's locker room talk mixed with internet slang. By putting that phrase into a song about Ophelia, she is clashing high art with pop culture. She's saying, my Prince Hamlet doesn't speak in soliloquies, he speaks in vibes. He pledges allegiance to his team.
And team has a double meaning there. It's the football team, obviously, but it's also the concept of partnership, being on the same side. In Hamlet, no one is on Ophelia's team. Her father uses her as bait. Hamlet screams at her to go to a nunnery. She is politically isolated. Here, Swift is demanding and receiving allegiance. Pledge allegiance to your hands is also quite tactile. It's grounding. It's not abstract love, it's physical safety.
Right. And then the line, don't care where the hell you been, 'cause now you're mine. That is total ownership. It wipes the slate clean. It's a very confident, almost aggressive claim, which contrasts beautifully with the fragility of the Ophelia metaphor.
Let's move to the second verse, because this is where the literary nerdery really goes into overdrive. The eldest daughter of a nobleman, Ophelia lived in fantasy. But love was a cold bed full of scorpions. The venom stole her sanity. Okay, cold bed full of scorpions. That is not Hamlet.
No, it is not. That is Macbeth. Act 3, Scene 2, Macbeth says to Lady Macbeth, "Oh, full of scorpions is my mind, dear wife." He says this when he is consumed by guilt and paranoia after murdering King Duncan to seize the crown. He can't sleep, he's tormented. Swift takes that image of psychological torture, a mind stinging itself, and relocates it to the cold bed of love.
That is a dark, dark description of her past relationships. If love was a bed full of scorpions, it means it was a place of anxiety, not rest. It means every time she laid down to be vulnerable, she was stung. And linking that to Ophelia's sanity is fascinating. Ophelia goes mad because her reality breaks. The man she loves kills the father she obeys. Swift is suggesting that her own sanity was stolen not by weakness, but by the poisonous nature of the environment she was in.
And notice the specificity, the eldest daughter of a nobleman. Taylor is the eldest child. She's drawing the parallel directly to herself. She is the dutiful daughter who built an empire, the noble figure of the music industry. She lived in the fantasy of songwriting, but the reality of the romance, the scorpions, almost destroyed her.
Then we get the pre-chorus variation, and if you'd never come for me, I might have lingered in purgatory. Purgatory is a state of waiting. It's neither heaven nor hell, it's just stuck.
Which fits the drowning metaphor perfectly. Ophelia floating in the brook, singing songs before her clothes weigh her down, that is a kind of purgatory, the moments before the end. Swift is saying she was in that suspension. And then the rescue imagery changes. You wrap around me like a chain, a crown, a vine, pulling me into the fire.
Wait, pulling her into the fire? Usually you save someone from a fire.
Exactly. This goes back to the pyro line in the first verse. She was drowning in cold water, melancholy, isolation. He pulls her out of the water and into the fire. It's a shock to the system. It's warmth, but it's intense warmth. Life, passion, noise, the Super Bowl sideline cameras. That is the fire. And she's welcoming it because the alternative is the cold water.
I love the list of things he wraps around her. A chain, a crown, a vine. A chain suggests possession or solidity. A crown suggests status. They are a power couple. But a vine? That's organic. That grows. It's intricate.
It's also unshakable. A vine takes over. It reclaims the tower. If she was Rapunzel in the tower, he didn't just climb the hair. He grew around the tower like a vine until he reached the top. It's an encompassing kind of love. It's not polite.
Then we hit the bridge, which slows things down. The fate of Ophelia. 'Tis locked inside my memory, and only you possess the key. No longer drowning and deceived, all because you came for me. That word "tis" with the apostrophe is so Shakespearean.
It is. It's the archaic language again. But look at what she's doing with the memory. She isn't erasing the past. The trauma, the fate is locked in her memory. It exists. But he has the key. This implies trust. She's giving him access to the dark parts of her psyche, the parts good almost drowned. She's no longer deceived. In Hamlet, Ophelia is deceived by everyone. Hamlet lies to her, Polonius lies to her, Claudius lies to her. Swift is saying that this new relationship is the first time she has clarity. Now I can see it all, she repeats in the chorus.
That clarity is the antidote to madness. Ophelia went mad because she couldn't make sense of the contradictory information she was being fed. Swift is saying, I'm sane because you are real. You keep it 100.
It all comes back to that phrase, keep it 100. It's the anchor of reality in a sea of metaphors. You know, there's a famous painting of Ophelia by John Everett Millais. She's floating, mouth open, hands up. It's beautiful but tragic. I feel like this song is Taylor looking at that painting and saying, that's a nice picture, but I'm getting out of the river.
And dragging the guy with the megaphone with her.
Or he dragged her out. You dug me out of my grave. It's a resurrection. You know, Reputation was a resurrection from the death of her reputation. The life of a showgirl seems to be a resurrection from the death of her heart. She thought that part of her was gone, drowned in the melancholy, and he dug it up.
I want to touch on the sleepless night line in the chorus. It's about to be the sleepless night you've been dreaming of. Swift has a whole history with sleepless nights. Midnights was an entire concept album about them. Usually, they are anxious. They are about pacing the floor.
But here, the sleepless night is something he's been dreaming of. It's sexual, it's exciting, it's anticipatory. It reclaims the nighttime. It's not for brooding anymore. It's for connection. It fits the pyro theme. They are burning the candle at both ends, but they are doing it together.
The cultural impact of this track is already fascinating to watch. We're seeing English teachers breaking down Hamlet on TikTok because of this song. We're seeing NFL fans yelling "Keep it 100" on the sea and sky at games.
It's the Swift effect. She flattens the hierarchy between high culture and low culture. She makes Shakespeare accessible to football fans and football slang accessible to theater kids. But beneath the memes, I think the legacy of this song is going to be about the refusal of the tragic ending. For a long time, the narrative around Swift was that she was the eternal victim of her own romantic history, the woman who writes breakup songs, the Ophelia of the music industry, destined to be defined by the men who left her.
And the fate of Ophelia is her saying, "I'm not the victim, I'm the survivor."
She is the survivor who got the guy and kept the crown. She ends the song not in the water, but on the land, the sea, and the sky, commanding allegiance. It's a power move wrapped in a love song. Ophelia didn't just survive the fall from the willow tree, she climbed back up and bought the castle.
I think that's the perfect place to leave it. From the cold bed of scorpions to the fire of a new life. It's a heck of a journey for 3.5 minutes of synth pop.